Grant, thank you very much for being on the CEO Global Network podcast. I've been looking forward to this for several weeks, and it's just great to see you again. And so thanks for taking the time to be with us. And, I was thinking back and reminiscing before the call, and, you know, it's almost 25 years ago, Grant, when your dad introduced me to you. And I'd asked your dad, I'm building a CEO group and I'm looking for a CEO who could be in the group. You know anybody? And he said, well, let me give that some thought and I'll get back to you. And he came back to me in about a week's time and said, well, I talked to my wife about it. And we recommend you speak to our son, Grant. And the rest is history, Grant. Here we are 25 years later. Who thought
Yeah, no kidding.
then
Wow.
that
Yeah.
we'd be on a podcast together in 2025?
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. So I got a few questions for you, Grant, and we'll move through them fairly rapid fire. But the first question really is, what has been your proudest moment? You've been leading Melmart for close to 25 years now, and what is the proudest moment that you've had, and what changes have you seen in the industry?
Yeah, well, first of all, 25 years, that's incredible. Like it's one of those things that, like a lot of us, I guess, when you hear a number like that, you're like, this isn't possible for me to be around that long in this job. I felt like I had a long career before Melmart, and this is 25 years at Melmart. And obviously appreciate the changes that just meeting you and then getting to know CEO Global and getting involved has meant in my life too. So, but I think overall, when I think of the proud moments, I mean, there are times with suppliers like you get an award, right? You're at an event and you get an award for being selling the most volume, or being having the fastest launch or the most success in a particular product line, and you'll have all your people up there accepting the award. I think where I always feel the most pride is when I look at the team and I kind of realize these are the guys that are doing it. So when I have a team that's clicking, the old have the right people on the bus, right? To use maybe an overused term, just, having the right team that they can adjust, they can make changes, they can shift directions, they can retool. I think that's where I feel the most proud, because that's really what makes the difference in the business. I'm just one person and I'm not that smart. So I need a lot of smart people around me to help. And that's where I really notice it, is when you have the right team, man, everything else is a lot easier. And when you don't, or when there's an issue there, it just seems so hard. So I think that's probably the big thing.
As Lencioni says, you are humble to say you're not smart, but as he says, humble, hardworking, and smart. I mean, that's the definition of an A player. That's the definition of you. Let me say that. Absolutely. Grant, how do you balance legacy and innovation when growing a long-standing family-owned business like Melmart?
Yeah, it's interesting, especially we're a third generation business now, 55 years. And I think in our case, and maybe this is true with most companies, but I'm in the flooring business my whole life. Innovation is just survival. When I think of when I came here, and that's only 25 years ago, we've been around 55 years. We were such a different company. We were selling primarily, and I'm going to geek out on flooring for a second, but we were selling rolls of commercial broadloom and rolls of sheet vinyl, linoleum, they used to call it. That represented the biggest chunk of our business. Today, those products represent less than 5% of the industry. There isn't much commercial broadloom sold. It's all commercial carpet tile. Our business is no longer commercial, or not very commercial anyway. So we've had to change quickly and adjust. I think the other thing too is, in a family business, we can't forget what got us here. And I think being close to our customers, being humble, most of our customers run a family business like we do. So we have to be approachable. We have to understand their business, understand their pain, take time to listen to them, to our own people, to our salespeople. And I think when I think back at the way this family business started, I think that's a big part of the legacy is being close to the customer and being far from perfect, but being willing to adapt and change and hear your customer and make adjustments when you need to.
Well, thank you for that. And you may have answered this question in part just with that answer, but what does great leadership look like to you, in such a fast-paced industry?
I mean, I think I did. Like it is a lot to do with listening and being close to customers. I mean, when I think of our salespeople are out there every day. seeing customers. Our senior, sales VP is out every week seeing customers. I'm out fairly often traveling and seeing customers at all the different shows that we have as well. So I think being close to them is really important, just constantly. And then I think the other thing that's really critical in our business is to be willing to try stuff. Someone wise that you told me about might have been Lencioni. The idea of fail fast, fail forward. Try stuff out. Learn from what you've tried. You don't need to have 100%, but just keep testing new things, trying new things, and tweaking constantly. Again, I think that's a big part of it. Not, empowering our people to make decisions, and not be afraid to make a decision so that they can, so we can just continue to move forward. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. After decades of being in the business, I mean, you've been in it a long time. You're in it before you started with Melmart, the 25 years ago. What still gets you excited about getting into the office each day, Grant?
I mean, I think as much as anything, the change. This business has changed so much, and when I think back, we were a distributor that carried, when I started here, we were just in Ontario. We didn't sell anywhere outside of Ontario. We were selling the products that I was mentioning. Things have really, really switched. We carried many, many different brands. Today, there's one brand that we carry, one Mannington, which is a major brand in the U.S. And then about 60 to 70% of our business is now our own brand. Products that we design, we style, we color, we select for our local market. We have made in different places throughout the world. We have products made in Europe. We have products made in Canada. We have products made in Asia. So there's a lot of moving balls there. I think that's exciting. There's a lot to do. We were just in China a few weeks ago, seeing our major suppliers there, the Chinese suppliers. We're in Europe occasionally, seeing what's going on there. So I think that's probably the exciting thing. I remember years ago, I was just thinking when we were talking about doing this, there was one customer, big commercial customer I had years ago, and he was a bit of a downer. He used to always tell me or my sales guy if we were in there, oh, there's no future for distributors. The big manufacturers are going to take over, and that's really going to be the future. And when I look today, I think distributors are as strong as ever. They're different. We have a very different landscape today with distributors than we used to have. But the difference is most of the manufacturers, the big billion-dollar manufacturers that we compete with, do what we do. They make a certain amount of their product, but they have a ton of their product made offshore, just like we do. So that levels the playing field a fair bit and gives us a good chance to tailor products, maybe not for all of North America if we want to. We tailor them for our local market. And then the other thing is just we've been able to expand. We've been able to expand over those years. We've been into Quebec a long time ago. We bought someone in Atlantic, Canada, a number of years ago and moved out there. So that always keeps you hopping as you're learning about new business and new geography.
It really would. I have one last question for you, Grant. Your father was a very successful CEO, just like you. And what did you learn about leadership from him? And how has that impacted the leader that you are today?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was blessed with a great mom and dad, and they had a great relationship, a pretty traditional family with mom staying at home raising 5 kids and dad going to work every day, working in an office. I think the main thing is he was passionate about work. He loved it. He didn't leave it at the office. He brought it home. He talked about it around the dinner table. He would tell us funny stories. He had a joke and a story for everything, sometimes not totally appropriate, but he had an anecdote. And until his last day, he would love to tell you stories about different situations. Some of them I'd heard many times, but that was pretty cool. So I think I learned a lot. I learned a lot from him. I also saw when he retired, he struggled a bit because he really loved work that much. So that's something that taught me a bit of a lesson too. You got to be prepared for what that looks like. It can't just be all work. But I think he was a good guy, and it was neat. And the other thing too, I always think about is he loved my mom. He had a great relationship with her, and right to the last day, man, that was a pretty special relationship. And that left an imprint on me just watching that growing up. They went through thick and thin and through some pretty tough times, actually. And they all did it together. So it was cool.
Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing that. with us. He was a great guy, Grant, and so are you. Can't thank you enough for being on the CEO Global Network podcast. We really appreciate it, Grant. We know you're busy. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Thanks a
I
lot.
appreciate it. Thanks, John. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.